Hi, I'm Claire from Back My Stitch Up Design, and welcome to today's podcast. Today we've got a lovely guest, Megan. Do you want to say hi, Megan?
Hi, I'm Megan. Nice to see you, Claire, and everyone that's looking at this.
So, can you just tell everybody about a bit about your account and background, please, Megan? Because I'm mega excited to have you on the podcast.
Thank you. So I'm an illustrator and surface designer. I'm based in Los Angeles right now. I'm originally from New Hampshire, which is the other side of the United States. So I have an Instagram account. My username there is at Roymeister. That's like easily my most successful social media account. And so that's,
Yeah,
if you know me, that's probably where you know me from.
yeah. Where did you think of the name Roy Meister? Is that like a nickname from school?
Yeah, it's a nickname from college. My account started as a personal account. So that was just like
Right.
the dumb name that I picked. And then eventually I started using it more for business and felt like it was too late to change it. So here we are.
Yeah. So my business account, Back My Stitch Up Design, I've thought about changing it so many times because have you heard of Prodigy, the band?
No.
So it's an English band, and they did a song in I think the 90s, and it was called something. I can't say it because it's got a swear word in it, but it rhymes with my business name. So
I can
it's
imagine. I'll use my imagination.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really really memorable for British people, but I think
Okay.
nobody else gets it, and it's it's kind of like taken out of context. But also, when I first started the business, it was actually doing hand embroidery. So back my stitch
Oh,
up made more
got
sense.
it. Yeah.
But now that I actually do seamless patterns, I understand it makes no sense at all. But I feel like it's too late. It's too late to change.
Yeah, it's so tough. I know this, like, no, I think when people made their social media accounts, they didn't imagine they would have it for, like decades.
I
It's
know.
hard because your business evolves and your interests evolve, and then what do? You're just stuck with it.
Yeah, exactly. Too late. Um, so one of the main reasons I know we've just spoken off camera, but one of the main reasons why I wanted you to come on is because I know you have had a lot of success as a freelance illustrator, haven't you? And you're like established. You've been in Cosmopolitan, haven't you? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been stalking you online. So
That's like
I'm
the
just
biggest compliment you could give somebody these days, right?
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
I've been stalking you illegally. Um, so have you found that you've naturally progressed into like that type of area, or is it all through an agency? Because you're with an agency as well, aren't you?
I am, although I am new to the agency. I've been with them
Ah,
for under a year, so I wouldn't necessarily credit them for any of like my past successes,
yeah,
but maybe some of the future successes we can give them credit for. But
yeah,
um, yeah, I sort of fell into like service design. I've been doing like a lot of licensing stuff recently, and a lot of that is due to the success that I've had online on social media
yeah,
because art directors and companies will find me through my social media accounts, and I think that my numbers there give me a little bit of credibility, and I mean hopefully the work speaks for itself too, but like the
yeah,
numbers don't hurt. And they'll ask me to do projects through social media, so it's been sort of like I haven't necessarily had an end goal in mind that I'm working towards. It's been a lot of just sort of riding the wave and seeing what happens. And I've
yeah.
been lucky enough to have a lot of good things come my way.
That's so good. So, have you actually got educational background and qualifications in surface design and illustration,
So
or is it all self-taught?
it's mostly self-taught. This is a really interesting question, actually, because my degree from university is in film. It's in like television and film production.
Ah,
So
right.
it's like to me, I see a lot of overlap there because they're both creative, they're both art forms, they both have foundations in things like composition and color and light, and it's very visual, right? So
Yeah.
I have been able to certainly like take those things that apply to what I'm doing now and bring them over. But as far as like technical skill in this area, I'm totally self-taught.
Yeah, same. I've got no education or background in it at all. But I just think if you've got a basic level of talent and knowledge anyway. I think it's just something that you can work on and develop, and it gets better over time, like most things, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think like the problem, a lot of people who want to get into like this type of career, they give up really fast because they don't see immediate results. And I
Mm,
feel like if you just keep working at it, like you will
yeah,
get there. You just got to give it time and like keep doing the thing and like be bad at it for a minute and then you'll get
yeah,
better.
yeah, definitely. I've said it in a previous podcast, but I look back to 3 or 4 years ago when I first started, and at the time, art is so personal, isn't it? So as an artist, you look at your art, and to be fair, most of the time I actually hate it, but you've kind of like got an attachment to it, and then when
Yeah.
it doesn't sell, or nobody likes it, or it doesn't get like actual likes, then it like kills you inside a little bit, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
It does. Although I will say with time, I've gotten a lot better at not taking stuff
Yeah,
personally. And I think that's a huge asset. So if you could like trick yourself into getting there somehow, it's really helpful. I actually turned off the like count on Instagram. So I can't see my own likes and I also can't see anyone else's likes. So
that's
that's
good
like,
actually.
that's hugely helpful for me because it literally takes away my ability to compare like how well I'm doing as like compared to everyone else I see online. So it's been really good.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. What's the saying? Comparison is the thief of joy. Is
Yeah,
that the
yeah.
saying? Yeah, and I
Yeah,
definitely
totally
think that
applies.
is true for sure.
Definitely.
So now that you are with an agency, can you talk us through the process? Like, do they contact you, or do you still get inquiries via Instagram, and then you are meant to put them through the agency?
Yeah, so it's a little bit of everything. Just because an agent's involved now doesn't mean that like people have stopped emailing me. Like I still get requests and messages and emails. And the way it works is that they are doing their thing, you know, where they are. They're actually based in the UK as well. And or you're not in the UK, you're in Cyprus, you said, right?
Yes.
But
So yeah,
you're from the UK.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
they're based in the UK, so far away from me. So they're over there doing their thing, sending out my work, trying to get me projects, and I'm also doing that over here for myself. And if I get an inquiry that comes to me like not through them, I'll send them over to my agency when I'm ready to do negotiating. So they'll handle the
Right.
contract side of things and like the pricing and the whole structure of the deal. But I'm still taking inquiries myself.
Yeah. Yeah. So are you allowed to say roughly what percentage an agency charges?
Yeah, so this agency, it depends on the project. They have two different percentages. They either take 20% or 30%, depending on whether it's a publishing project or basically any other type of project. Publishing is different for some reason. I don't really
Mm.
understand why.
Yeah.
From what I understand, I have asked around like a few other friends who have agents or work with agencies, and that seems to be pretty standard to me. I don't know.
Yeah, actually, that's nowhere near as bad as what I thought it was, because when I've seen people talking about agencies previously on social media, I'm sure people said it was about 40% commission that they were charged.
Well, I have heard that for licensing in particular, sometimes
Mm.
licensing agencies will take more. I've actually seen up to 50% from
Yeah.
them, but this agent that I'm working with is not a licensing agent per se, so it's a
Right.
little bit different. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So that's actually, yeah, that's nowhere near as bad as what I thought it was.
Yeah.
Because as well, I have previously thought about applying to go with an agency. The only ones that I've seen that I think I would really fit in with have all been closed anyway for applications. So I've
Mm.
kind of just thought, oh, well, it's probably not worth it. And as well, like as we were talking about not having an official education in it, that's always kind of made me have imposter syndrome. And I think, well, actually, would I even be accepted? Do I need to have
Yeah.
qualifications or a degree? It's difficult, isn't it?
It's always scary. Yeah. I definitely have felt that way in the past, like for
Mm.
long stretches of time. And I feel like even now, sometimes I go in and out of it. But for the most part, that's also something I've gotten really good at with time is just being like, no, I'm good at this. You're
Yeah,
gonna love it. So, and if you don't, I'll find someone else that does. So, oh
yeah,
well.
yeah. I think that's a really good attitude, actually. Um,
Thanks. Yeah.
so you do some drop shipping. I've seen
Yeah.
that you do tea towels, like apparel.
Yep.
Is it colouring books? Do they come under drop shipping, or do you actually buy those
I
and send
have
those out?
I have one digital coloring book, so it's not something that I ship. It's just a digital file that you get. You can print it at home or wherever.
Ah, digital. Yeah, okay. So what is your favourite thing to produce or make?
Ooh, good question. Um, I love drawing dogs. That's like one of my favorite things. I'm a big animal person, so anything that I can like throw a dog on. Like recently, I actually have this right here, so I'll use it as an example. I have a phone case line that's just dogs,
Brilliant.
so that's been one of my recent favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the phone
Is
cases and I love the dogs.
is that Casetify? Am I
Yeah,
saying it right? Yeah,
yeah, you
Casetify.
are. Yeah,
Yeah.
you got it.
Yeah,
Nailed
I
it.
see some business names and I think I actually don't know how to pronounce it at all. Got it right though. Yeah, I'm a big animal lover as well. When we moved to Cyprus, there's a massive issue with stray animals and abandoned and abused animals. So since we've been here, we've actually acquired 3 cats and a dog.
Oh my gosh. Just like
And
from the street or like from a
literally, yeah, literally from the
Oh
street.
my God.
Um,
Oh, that's amazing. I love that.
yeah. So if you could design for any brand, what would it be?
Oh my God. I've been dying to. This is actually okay. Here's like a personal goal of mine that I'll share. I have a list in my phone of some things that I'm like, if I can do these things, I will consider myself like successful. And I just write like
Yeah,
my biggest dreams. And some of them are really like small and would seem silly to people, but some of them are bigger. One of them is that I want to do a Starbucks gift card design
brilliant. Okay.
or a holiday cup design.
Yeah,
Something for Starbucks, like one of their big things that they need designed because they don't have a lot of design work. I feel like that they go to the outside for, but their
yeah,
gift cards are always like really cute, especially around like the holiday seasons. They have like special ones that come out, and I
yeah.
always go and see them and think, how do I do that? I want to do that.
I feel like your Halloween designs would be amazing for that.
Yes, right? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
yeah. And then I just like I love to draw like Halloween stuff and fall stuff. So anything that I could slap those on. I would love to have like a line of like notebooks or something, or like fall crafts in Target or like Michael's,
yeah,
places like that. Like the bigger like brands, I guess, you know.
yeah. That would be amazing. I don't even know. I couldn't even begin to imagine working for a big brand and like seeing my designs in there. I
Yeah.
just anyone, anybody. If anybody sees this, just
Yeah.
message me.
Yeah, I have been lucky enough to have a couple of things end up in stores so I could go and see them in person. Like I had a
Oh,
puzzle that came out this past summer that's in Barnes and Noble. So I went to Barnes and Noble with like my puzzles
really?
on the shelf, and that's so fun to see. So yeah, anything like that I can go to a big famous chain and like see something that I made being sold there. That's very exciting to me.
When I first messaged you, it was only a few months ago, and I'm sure your Instagram account has just skyrocketed. Have you just got thousands of new followers over the festive period for Halloween?
Yeah, so I the last 2 years I've hosted a drawing challenge in October, which is like a really big time for drawing challenges on Instagram,
Yeah,
and I usually see a lot of growth during that time because uh, people are really active, and people are because I'm hosting something, they're sharing my work a lot, so it gets
yeah,
a lot more eyes on it, and just by the nature of the algorithm, I end up getting like a good chunk of people coming on board. So yeah, probably a lot of new people from last month.
yeah. That's amazing. Was it a joint one with other designers that you did?
Yes. So there's a group of 5 of us, 4 other girls who are also illustrators on Instagram. And the past 2 years, we've hosted that October challenge together.
So when you moved to LA, was that all for work?
Well, I went to school for film, as I said, in Boston, which is also on the other side of the country. And then I moved to Los Angeles to pursue that. So, because this is kind of the film and TV capital of the country, if not the world, I don't know. So this is where I ended up to try and get work for
Yeah.
in my degree and like my area that I knew about. And I did that for a little while, but just the culture in that industry was just really different once I got into the real world. And I found it to be too intense for me, basically. Like I was having a
Yeah.
lot of fun making stuff with my friends at school. And then when I came out to do it in the real world, it was just like really like hustle mindset and like just like drive yourself into the ground working kind of thing was the experience that I had. And I just realized pretty quickly that like, I don't want that. so,
Yeah.
so I decided to not do that anymore. And I sort of, had to take a long, hard think about what my skills were and what I was interested in. And art and drawing is something I've always done kind of for fun. So it was something that I was like, okay, I think I'm already sort of okay at this. Maybe we'll take a
Yeah.
shot at it and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's paid off.
Yeah, so far so good.
Yeah. So you sell at a couple of different places. So Etsy, Society6, and then you've got like the Casetify. So where is, for you personally, like the most financially beneficial place to sell?
I have my personal stores like my Etsy, Society6, like TeePublic, all those sort of print on demand sites. I'm just running myself. They're not
Yeah.
in like collaboration with anyone else. And because like I spend so much of my time making work for other people, those places get a little neglected. So I would
Yeah.
say those aren't like my biggest selling areas. Usually the most profitable places are the places run by other companies. So like the Casetifys or the tea towels I just did are with Geometry. So like they are handling all of the like marketing and manufacturing and shipping. That's really how I prefer to work. Like I really
Yeah.
prefer to like let them do the bulk of it. Like I'll make the artwork, then you can take it from there and just let me know what my commission is.
Yeah.
Yeah, they tend to have like more resources because they're larger businesses than like just me on my own. So they're able to promote the products and get more sales.
Yeah, definitely. With Casetify, did they approach you as an artist? So it's a limited number of artists that are on there.
So I started working with them like I want to say like 8 years ago, like a long
Oh
time
wow.
ago. And I think I got in like pretty early
Mm.
and it was kind of by accident, as most things in my career, I feel like. But
Yeah.
I was working with Hello Giggles, which is a blog. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah.
And they were designing a line of phone cases for Casetify, and they asked me to design some of the cases in their collection.
Yeah.
One of those cases ended up selling very well. It ended up being like a bestseller. And then Casetify reached out to me and said, "Do you want to do your own collection? Because the one that you made is the one that's selling super well." So that was how I made my very first collection with them. And then from there, I've been able to add more designs over the years. But yeah, so they kind of asked me to, but it was
Yeah.
because they were working with someone else who I happened to have a connection with.
Yeah. That's really good.
Yeah.
So do they give you a theme that they want, or do you just do whatever you want and add that as a collection?
They've pretty much given me free reign so far. Although this most recent collection, I did ask them like, what do you think is going to sell best? Like, what is your customer base looking for? Like, can you tell me anything that's trending? Like colors, motifs, like design styles. Like, let me know because I'm happy to make something that fits within those parameters. So we
Yeah.
kind of collaborated on the most recent one, but prior to that, I was just like doing whatever I wanted. Yeah.
Yeah. How do you find doing custom jobs where it's obviously the customer that wants a specific theme or design? Do you find those easier than doing your own designs or harder?
It's a mix, I think. It depends on the customer because sometimes it is a lot harder. It's
Yeah.
always, I think, I don't want to say easier. Sometimes it's very hard to get something out of my own brain onto
Mm.
a piece of paper or whatever. But if I'm the only one critiquing it, I can scrap it if I hate it or change it completely, or I can just do whatever I think is necessary if it's just for me, and if it's for someone else, I have to consider their input. So I would say that usually makes it more challenging.
Yeah.
But if it's something that they've asked for, like they're paying for, I also want them to get what they like, what they're imagining, whatever is best for like the use that they're imagining the artwork the thing they're going to put it on or sell it as or whatever it is. So
Yeah.
it's good and bad, I would say. It's harder and easier.
Yeah. I understand that. So I actually don't do custom designs anymore because my market is small clothing businesses generally. Um, but my issue with customs is what the customer has in their head. It's not always fully put across about how they actually want it, or
Yeah.
maybe they've got an idea in the head, they don't know how to describe it, or they've got an idea and I do something but it's completely different to what they've got in the head. So I
Yeah.
found it quite difficult really to do customs. Sometimes it's like I'll do it, it's easy and they're happy straight away, but I've also had other times where I've had to redo it probably about 4 times. And I
Yeah.
just think, Lord, I cannot, cannot keep redoing the same design.
I think it's so tough because it's hard when like your design styles don't match.
Yeah, that's it.
They have a really clear vision for what they want maybe, but it's just not the kind of work that you do. But they
Yeah,
just think, "Oh, you're a designer, so you can design what I'm imagining." Whereas you as the designer are thinking, "I want to take your idea and do it my way."
yeah,
And
definitely.
they're not always the same. So yeah, it can totally depend on the person asking for the custom design.
Yeah, definitely. So you were talking about goals. Have you
Yeah.
got any other goals? What is your 5-year plan? Is this going to just be 5
just
million, 5 million
just riding that
followers?
wave. So yeah, a big part of like my journey so far, as I said, has been sort of just going with the flow, and I do want to continue to do that, but I also am finding myself wanting to branch out into like specific areas of my industry and focus more on
Yeah,
those. So I think next year education is going to be one that I'm focusing on. So more courses, more tutorials, things like that. And then the other thing I want to really like lean hard into is publishing work. So more books and projects through publishers, because those I've done a few of those in the past and they've been really fun and they're usually
yeah,
decent paychecks as well. So like it's just checking all the boxes for me. So
yeah,
I want to
definitely.
sort of lean into education and publishing in the future.
Yeah, so I had an idea actually. I thought you might say like education because you've released what would you call it? An ebooklet?
Yeah.
And it's called Secrets of Freelance Illustration, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
So
it is.
I actually bought that.
Oh, did you find it helpful? I'm always get nervous that people are going to read it and be like, "Oh man, there's nothing good in here. Why did I buy this?"
Yeah, I did actually. So I think it's definitely aimed to newer designers
Yeah, for
because a
sure.
lot
Yeah,
of it for me, I've already got past that point anyway.
yeah,
But I thought it was really good, and I love stuff like that. Like I'm just mad for just continuously learning new things, and YouTube is like the best invention ever to me because
I
I
know.
just
Yeah,
love, I just love it. I just think it's amazing. Like when I was a kid, a long time ago. I'm 37 now, so literally
oh, me
when I
too.
was a kid, oh, amazing! Like you
Yeah,
will know then there wasn't internet when we were children. It was like maybe when I got to a teenager, and then they had
yeah.
the dial up,
Oh yeah,
and it took ages, and nobody really knew what they were doing on it. But now it's just, I just think it's just amazing. Like you can learn anything that you want to just by clicking on the internet.
yeah. It's great. Really good for
Yeah,
us self-taught artists.
yeah, exactly. So, would you do like the education stuff via something like Patreon or I can't think of the others?
Yeah, so it's funny that you brought up Patreon
Domestika.
because I've been looking at Patreon specifically and Skillshare right now. So I know about Domestika. That's not off the table. I mean, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens, but yeah, so far I've been looking at Patreon and Skillshare.
Can you be on multiple platforms? Do you know?
Yeah, I think you can. So Patreon to me is more like self-run.
Yeah.
It's whatever content you want to put there, and then Skillshare is like full courses. So it's like a whole class. So some of those classes are an hour plus long. Some of them are like 20 minutes long. But you work with Skillshare to kind of like develop the course. And I think once that's up there, you can't put that on another. I couldn't like also put that on Domestika. I'd have to do a different class for Domestika. But as far as I know, you could do different courses on different platforms. So we'll see.
I think I would probably like to go into the education side of it, even though I've got no qualifications.
You think that, but like you figured out how to start a podcast. I mean, that's
exactly
something. You could talk about that.
Yeah. I actually looked at Patreon, and it's from what I could see, you set the like monthly subscription price, and then people can subscribe to your channel, can't they? So I think maybe I need to work on increasing my social media first, and then I would eventually do that. But I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually setting up a new online marketplace at the minute, so that all my focus is going
into that. That's exciting.
Yeah, so that at the minute is like my goal. The website is almost done. It's like literally one change that I'm waiting on, and it's driving me mad. I've got no patience at all. But
you can see the finish line, so you're just dying to get there. When do you think you're gonna launch that one?
It should have been 2 months ago, but I've had a bit of a nightmare. It's the company that I've gone with that are making the website have actually been amazing, but they don't specialize in multi-vendor online marketplaces. So actually, it's a really, really difficult website to build, and it's got so many complexities to it that they have actually had to hire out for an external senior web designer to now come in and finish it, because it's that complex. So it should have been finished a while ago, but hopefully next week.
You're making things difficult for them.
I know.
Okay, I'm sending like all the good vibes your way to get that off the ground.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, maybe in 5 years' time I might look at the education side. We'll do another podcast in 5 years, and you can tell me how to do it.
Yeah. I'll take that class.
Yeah. So what other, I know you work with other designers anyway, like doing the online prompts on Instagram and stuff, but have you got like one particular designer or a few designers that you absolutely love their style?
All the girls that I usually host the challenges with, I wouldn't be, collaborating with them if I didn't like love their work and think they're wonderful people. So like those 4 girls are, their handles are Hey Alessandra, Jen Procreates, Jess Miller Draws, and Heather's Lettering. A lot of respect for them and what they do. And then also, so the Patreon situation that I've been looking into is with another artist friend. Her name is Joanna. Her handle is Wink and Wonder. I was looking into starting a joint Patreon with Joanna. So that's what we're working on now.
So I follow all those people anyway, but Wink and Wonder, I'm just getting my iPad out now. I am obsessed.
Yeah, she's great. She's so great. Okay. I love her. But yeah, we've been talking about collaborating on something educational for a while, like most of this year, and I think we're working towards a Patreon together.
So Wink and Wonder, sorry. Yeah, the cat. I don't think you can see it, but the cat design, I absolutely loved it. Oh, I've only ever done one draw this in your style, just because I just really struggled to find time to do them. I'm very, very slow at doing designs. But I saw Wink and Wonders draw this in your style, the cat one. I thought, oh God, I really want to do it. But I just couldn't find the time to do it.
You can always do it late. Like there's usually a time frame, but I know when I post them, I don't care if people do them a year later. You can just jump in whenever you want.
That's a good idea, actually. I'll probably get it done next year. Gosh. So where do you find inspiration for your designs?
I have such a hard time answering this question, honestly, because this is a question you get asked a lot as an artist, is like, how do you come up with your ideas? Where do you find your inspiration? Part of it for me is just like everyday life. So if I want to make a greeting card, for example, I'll think of like a real person that I know who I would want to give a greeting card to, and like, what would I put on that card for them?
Yeah.
And yeah, so like I'll use like my family, my brother, my best friends, or like, you know, my parents as inspirations. Like, what would they want on this card, and also what would I want to say to them? And then I'll try
Yeah.
and modify it to make sense for, you know, more general audience. But so that's part of it. The other part I think is just consuming artwork from other artists. So like social media is probably my main place where I do that, but also just like existing in the world, like going out into the world, you see art on everything. So I do notice those things and I pay attention to it, and sometimes I think I carry those things back subconsciously with me,
Yeah,
and
definitely.
inspiration is probably drawn from like a lot of the stuff that I'm like consuming in the world. Um, and then the other, like the third leg of it, which I feel like I don't hear people talk about this as frequently, is that I'm a little bit logical in the way that I approach inspiration as well, where I'm not just thinking like, oh, what do I want to draw? I'm thinking, what do I want to design for? Like, what product do I want to design for, and what do I think people will buy? What do I think is
Yeah.
going to sell? So that's also a factor. Is thinking like, yeah, I could just draw like my dog and put it on a t-shirt, but probably no one wants that except for me, right? so,
Yeah.
so how can I generalize that to make it more accessible to a wider audience? That's part of the inspiration too.
Yeah. So actually, in the last podcast that I did, the guest then was she's called Fabi Doodle. So she does illustrations on Instagram, really lovely, like children's illustrations, and she's now getting into seamless pattern designs. And like I had a conversation with her, and she was saying basically, are there any specific designs that are good, guaranteed to be good sellers? And like my approach is also very logical, and I will do like a lot of research on I don't know, like Etsy demographics, and I'm good at spotting trends because that's what I used to do as my job in the military. So I did like data analysis. So to
Yeah,
me,
that's a great skill to
I
have.
yeah, exactly. Not art related, but I'm good at spotting the trends and I know what will sell. So for me, like I'm very logical. Even though I might want to do a specific design, I've learned now that not all designs will sell well,
Yeah.
and some designs definitely do. So I am all for being logical and rational about it.
Yeah. So a piece of advice that I would give for anyone trying to design that way is to just look at like, where do you buy stuff? Go there, and usually their website or their Instagram or whatever it is, you can organize by bestsellers. So just look at what the
Yeah,
bestsellers are, and if you see any trending things like, you know, everything has a mushroom on it, or everything is purple, or like whatever,
yeah,
it kind of gives you a direction of like where you can take stuff and what people are buying now.
yeah, definitely.
Hmm.
Another place where weirdly I've become a bit obsessed with looking at them is I follow a few accounts on Instagram that do like really elaborate cookie decorations, and I
Yeah,
just
with
think
like
they're absolutely
the
amazing.
icing, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's so good.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I am really loving those at the minute. So the Halloween ones were just amazing. I absolutely loved them. I didn't really get a chance to do many Halloween designs this year, but yeah, for me at the minute, like that is my inspiration, the cookies.
That's a good idea, actually. I might adopt that for like the holiday
Yeah,
season this year. Yeah.
they're amazing, honestly. I think I've covered pretty much everything. Have you got any questions at all, or anything else that you think would be useful to anybody watching this?
We sort of covered it already, but I think anyone that's trying to pursue a creative career, especially on your own as a freelancer, it really is just about like putting in the time and just let things unfold. It's not going to happen overnight. You gotta just ride those waves again for
Yeah,
years sometimes, just to see you know, where your strengths are, how you're able to apply them effectively, what's working for you, what's not. And it can take a really long time.
yeah,
It's not an easy or fast job to have.
yeah, definitely. I think, like you said earlier, I think some people do just think they'll just be able to sell immediately and get customers, and it's really difficult actually because it is an oversaturated market now.
Yeah.
Oh, one more question that I had. What would you say was your like breakthrough moment or your first big design accomplishment?
That's a really good question. It's so long ago. Like, what was I doing 8 years ago?
Yeah.
I think the Catesify collection, the original one, was one of my first big ones because, like, that I had that like the one case that I had made for someone else that just blew up, and then from that I've turned that into 8 years of continued collaboration with this one
Yeah.
company, and like thousands of dollars in revenue over that time. So that was a pretty big deal. I think on a smaller scale, the first thing I did when I decided to go freelance was open an Etsy shop. So, and I just
Yeah.
had just art prints that they weren't good. They didn't really mean anything to anyone except for me. But a lot of my friends and family were buying them, like just to be nice to me, probably. But having that like little confidence boost at the beginning, where I'm like, oh, people are buying this. This feels good. I can do this. That was
Yeah.
really nice. Like a small moment of like, keep going.
Yeah, that is really good.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming on, Megan. It's been absolutely amazing to talk to you, and thank you so much for all the advice as well.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Okay, thank you, everybody. If you like this content, then please subscribe or leave a comment. Thank you.
Bye.